Hi, how are you? We're back with another edition of the Good Enough Human podcast. It's been a while. We've taken a little break, but we are so pleased and happy to be back bringing you another little mix of what's on in and around Chester, along with a kind of a special focus in this episode where we look at the latest production of a local theatre company called Against the Grain. And we're going to find out more about that through the course of this episode, which I believe is episode 17. I'm Angela Ferguson, and my co-host for this episode is Paul Crofts. Hi, Paul.
Hi Angela, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Not bad at all, thank you. It's great to be back. It really is super. It's been a little while, hasn't it? But it's good to be back doing these again.
Oh, it really is. It really is. I don't know about you, but I feel somewhat rusty, but happy to be back into it.
Absolutely. I'm sure we'll find our feet very shortly. It's like riding a bike, isn't it?
Yes, it's good. It feels good to be getting back on the horse and getting another episode together. So, yeah, as I mentioned, we're going to be focusing in on a little bit of what's on in and around Chester coming up over the next month or two. But primarily, we're going to be looking at an exciting new play from the pen of Mark Newman, who is one of the members of Against the Grain, a Chester-based theatre company. And Paul, this is a very personal one for you because you are one of the founder members of Against the Grain. So, do you want to tell us a bit about the production?
Certainly,
And Against the Grain. Sorry, Paul.
Absolutely, yeah, of course. No, that's fine. Thank you, Angela. So Against the Grain was founded back in 2019 by myself, Mark and Marion Newman, and Stuart Evans. We've all worked together for something like 20 years, off and on. And the opportunity to form the company came out of an opportunity we had from the local writer Jan Bengry, who's well known in Chester literature scene. She was commissioned to write a piece for the Storyhouse Women's Festival, which was taking place in April of 2019. And she'd always wanted to write some monologues for Marion Newman. And when the opportunity arose to write something for Storyhouse Women, she asked us, Mark and Marion, myself and Stuart, would we produce three of her monologues with Marion sort of performing them all. So we did three of her pieces. And we had to sort of very, very quickly come up with a name for the company because Storyhouse were wanting some details. And we said, what's the name of your theatre company? So we had to think, and we came up with Against the Grain. And so at that event, Storyhouse Against the Grain was born. And we've done a few productions since. We did a production at the Little Theatre in Chester in the October of that year. And then we were planning to do Mark's latest play, Mr. Dumpling, last July. We were going to do that at the Forum Studio Theatre, but of course COVID came along and interrupted everything for everybody. But it's great that we're now back in sort of rehearsal mode and not far up staging the production as a new venue for us, which is the Live Rooms opposite Chester Railway Station. So that's really exciting. Something we're really looking forward to finally being able to get back on stage with.
It feels like it's been a really long time. It's been a really long haul. It's been tough living and working through a pandemic, and it's turned the whole world upside down, hasn't it? And theatre's taken a real hit as well. So it's so wonderful to see it getting back on its feet, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we were all feeling it, I think. We all kept in touch over Zoom during the lockdown. We've met up since and talked about our plans for this year and into next year and what we'd like to do. And but to actually have that first read through a few weeks ago now, where we sat around and just read through the script, and it was just great to be back in the room and all together again. And it was just brilliant. I think we all breathed a huge sigh of relief when we were able to actually finally get back to doing something creative again, because I think everyone struggled a bit.
Yeah, we've really missed that, haven't we? And And I was fortunate enough to be invited along to one of your rehearsals, which we're going to hear little snippets of as part of this podcast, which I was so chuffed about because it was just really really lovely to meet you all and to see you all getting ready to bring this twisted comedy to the stage in Chester. Yeah. So how are rehearsals going?
They're going really, really well. We're only a few weeks in. We normally do about 6 weeks of rehearsal, so we've got 4 solid weeks left before curtain up. And yeah, it's the I think, as you probably saw on Sunday, the performances are coming along nicely. I think everyone's getting the characters now, and it's looking in such good shape. I think and the nice thing is that with each rehearsal, the characters develop more. People chip in ideas, and as Mark was talking to you on Sunday about the process, it's very much a collaboration between us all. It's not just the director saying this is what we want. We all have an opportunity to sort of feed into the creative process, which is a nice way of doing it.
Yeah, I love seeing that. It's such a collaborative effort and all chipping in with different notes, what we call in theatre terms, but in layman's terms, it's sort of observations, isn't it? And thoughts on what you could do to sharpen, I don't know, the performance or how it will come across ready for the finished, polished product on stage.
That's right. I mean, Mark's, Mark, as we've been going along, has changed lines and taken lines out and added a few lines in here and there. It's just sharpened the whole thing up, and so by the time we do get to perform it in front of an audience, it will be as honed and as polished as it can be. And I think it's all the better for that process, because it's only when you start performing the lines, rehearsing them, that you realise that some things work, some things don't. And by changing perhaps the odd word here or changing the way a phrase is said, it can make it a whole better line. So yeah, there's we that's how we've always worked as Against the Grain, and when we've done projects for other theatre companies together, that's how Mark and Stuart and Marion as directors tend to like to work. Yeah.
And we'll hear from you all shortly in the interviews that we did while you were in rehearsals. And I think Mark will explain a bit about what the play's about and what can I say without giving anything away. I'm certainly not giving any spoilers away, but just to say that I feel very privileged to have had a sneak peek, and I think the audience are in for a real interesting, fun ride with a few twists and turns along the way. So it's very, very clever, very and beautifully performed, as you'd expect from you guys. So many special moments. So I think the audience are in for a treat. If you go along to this, then yes, you are in for a treat. And when is it when and where is it being staged?
So it's being performed at the Live Rooms, which is better known, I think, in Chester as a music venue. So it's a sort of this is actually quite a first for us and a first for them, because it's the first time that we've performed there. And it's the first time that they've actually had a theatre production as a hire. So it's a learning curve for all of us. I think we've got to get to grips with how the venue works in terms of the staging of the play, because there isn't the natural sort of, there's no wings, there's no backstage area to speak of, there's no natural entrances and exit on the stage. That's something we've had to look at carefully about how we stage the play. And the guys at the Live Rooms, I have to say, have been so supportive. They couldn't do more for us in terms of helping with promotion, in terms of what we need as a company to make it work, and in terms of running the nights that we're on as you would run them in a theatre venue. So the interval calls and all the rest of it, and how we expect the audience to not behave, but how a theatre audience behaves as opposed to a live music audience. There's obviously a difference there. So it's just a really great learning curve for us all. And so the dates for the play are the 29th and 30th of November, Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday the 1st of December, and they all start at 7:30. Doors will open at 7 to allow people to come in and have a pre-show drink, and the bar will be open in the interval too, and then after the show as well, so people can have a mingle and meet the cast and have a drink after the show if they so wish. So yeah, we're really looking forward to putting on in a brand new venue.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's a really quirky, creative venue as well. And I take it you won't be having a mosh pit then.
The mosh pit will be going for our performances. Yeah, I mean, it's there. We had a look at the venue a few days ago, and the mosh pit was there, but we're sure they're taking it out for us. So I can't imagine the cast sort of crowd surfing or diving into the audience. That's not going to happen.
Oh gosh, no, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and you have to think on your feet, don't you? Because you haven't got the usual, like you say, entrances and exits and backstage per se. You are out there, and you've got to think of creative ways to deal with it and put the show on the road. So brilliant. Okay, so we're now going to hear more from the team at Against the Grain while they were in rehearsals for Mr. Dumpling. And then Paul and I will come back and have another chat shortly.
So in this clip that's coming up from Mr. Dumpling, we have a police interview room where Graham is being interviewed by Inspector Watt and Detective Constable Sargent in connection with the disappearance of his parents.
I suppose I don't really know.
Oh, come on, Graham, put a bit of effort into it.
Sorry?
I'm bleeding here, Graham. I'm really trying.
Trying?
To put you at your ease, to build rapport. I've done the courses and everything. You're benefiting from years of training from a modern, more customer-friendly approach to policing. A bit old to be living with your parents, aren't you, Graham?
I only moved back about 3 weeks ago. It's only for a few weeks until I get back on my feet again.
After what?
I wasn't... Is that important?
Indulge me.
Well, the truth is, I split up with my partner, my boyfriend. Quite upsetting, actually. We've been together about 5 years and I'm probably quite settled, actually. So
Boyfriend, eh?
yes, partner.
When Graham splits up with his partner Nigel, he finds himself back home at his parents' house. And as you'll hear from this clip, his parents, Joyce and Frank, are constantly bickering, much to Graham's dismay, as he returns home to stay with them for a little while. And it's an interesting relationship, this one.
So, work?
The Building Society.
Still there, are you?
Yes.
Made manager yet?
No.
How come? You've been there long enough.
Well, two things really, Dad. One, it takes more than simple longevity to make the grade, and two, we've still got the same manager we've had for the past 12 years.
Not dead then yet?
Him or me? No.
Well, he should be by now, shouldn't he?
Well, I hope not. He's only 4 years older than me.
Ooh. So, he was manager when he was 36 then?
Something like that, I guess. Is there a point to this?
No point, just saying. Oh, here she comes, the jar.
Oh, Mum, let me help you with that.
No need, dear, I'm fine.
Hurt yourself. Oh, not her. You built like one of them Russian shot putters from the 1990s, she is.
Got you some Battenberg, your favourite.
Yeah, they don't mean the women either.
I'm just going up and check the bedroom. You have a catch up with your dad and some cake, and I'll be back down in a bit. You
I could do with one of them from time to time.
kissing pigs? Oh no, thank you.
Why do you keep having a go at Mum?
You are?
All the time. I've only been here 5 minutes. I've noticed you're always having a go at her, picking fights.
Oh, I see.
What?
Like that, is it?
Like what, Dad?
Always taking your mother's side, aren't you?
I'm not taking sides. I'm not taking anyone's side.
Telling me how to behave in my own house? Bloody cheek.
What do you mean, your house? It's Mum's house.
What did you say?
Grandma and Grandad left it to her.
What do you know about it? You weren't here. You weren't even born. You weren't even on the planet.
Forget it. Forget I said anything.
Oh no, Sonny Jim. You've said it now. You can't take it back. You've said it. Spiteful. You've got to back it up, son. Put your money where your mouth is. So, come on, man.
Come on. What?
Yeah, you want to fight me, do you?
What?
Yeah? Is that what you want? You want to fight me? Have a pop at your old dad?
the genes.
And I had to live with that all these years, your mother's jealousy. You wouldn't have known, of course. I didn't think it was fair to tell you. But, might have set you against her, you know, if you knew she hated you and was eaten up with jealousy of me.
You know, Dad, I really don't think Mum was jealous of you spending 2 months every Christmas 30, 40 years ago playing Dame in the local amateur drama group, Panto. I mean, it's hardly the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane, is it?
Hatred it was, actually. Yeah, I don't think that's too strong a word. Hatred. It went beyond jealousy, way beyond. Crossed the line, she did. I'm on the bog. I'll be down when I'm done.
Charming. I put a new can of Berwick in there before. Make sure you give it a squirt before you come down. Don't want Graham smelling your stinky stench. The poo, rosy scarlet. It's under the sink. Put it back when you've used it.
Ding dong, ding dong.
Who's that? Is that him again? No one.
Why don't you answer it and find out?
Me answer it?
You would.
Why should I? It won't be for me.
You're pathetic. I'll answer it then. See what they're selling.
Yeah, that's right. It's not me, I'm not the one. It's her. On the phone all day. All day. Well?
That was Graham.
Graham who?
Graham.
Our son Graham?
Yes. He's coming home.
What?
He's moving back here for a bit.
Why?
To live with his old mum and dad for a bit.
We don't want him.
Our son. The apple of your loins. He's coming home.
How long for?
Just think. One big happy family again.
Oh, Christ.
Okay, so we are here at rehearsals for Mr. Dumpling from Against the Grain, and I'm lucky enough to have managed to grab a moment post-rehearsal with Marion, Stuart, Mark and Paul. So thanks so much for inviting us along to get some insight into the rehearsal process behind the production coming to the live rooms in Chester very soon.
You're welcome.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about Mr. Dumpling for someone who might not have a clue what it entails?
Yes, Mr. Dumpling is a play about gentleman Graham, who's in his 40s, who breaks up with his partner and has to move back in with his extremely argumentative parents. And when he moves back in, he finds that his mother is running a telephone sex line. And the play switches between scenes back at his parents and in a police interview room where 3 weeks after he moves back in with them, he finds himself being interviewed in connection with their disappearance.
Yes,
It's a comedy.
There's a lot going on there, isn't there?
Yes. Yeah. I'd like to think that people get value for money.
Well, I've been able to listen in today, so I'm not going to give anything away, but goodness me, you are in for a ride if you come along and watch this. And Mark, sorry, just before we sort of move on as well, you're the writer, is that right?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Goodness me, I mean, where does an idea like this come from?
Do you know, I had a sneaking suspicion you were going to ask me that, and I'd love to give a really kind of insightful answer, but the genuine answer is I've got absolutely no idea. I sort of just fished it out the air. I've really got no. Probably alcohol was involved. But no, I sort of woke up one day and kind of had this strange little idea, and obviously you sort of as you start writing it, you work out little bits and pieces to stitch it together as a proper sort of coherent narrative and all that stuff. But yeah, where the actual seed of the idea came from, I must have just thought it would be funny for an old woman to be older woman, I should say, to be running a telephone sex line geared towards older gentlemen.
Wow. Yeah, it's brilliant to hear that insight, because there is a lot packed into this play, it is fair to say. A heck of a lot. Yeah. So thank you. Putting you on the spot there, Mark. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your honesty, talking about the influence of alcohol.
It's theatre, Angela. I think alcohol plays quite a large part of it.
So yeah, can I ask you guys how rehearsals are going?
I think we're very pleased with how we've worked together before, so we know each other very well, and I think that helps an awful lot when we start a rehearsal, because we know how we work. We have a way of working, we like to think, that's open to everybody involved. It's not a dictatorship. Everybody can come up with ideas, so it's nice that everybody feels comfortable and able to do that. So we've got definite framework. We've still got 4.5 weeks to go, so we're in a good position at the moment.
Great, yeah, because you are quite unusual in that respect of sort of working together as a what's the word? Collaboration, yeah. In terms of notes and how you develop it and how it sort of comes to life. I think is that quite unusual?
It's a nice way to work because I mean we've known each other for about 20 plus years. We've all directed each other at some point. We've all been on stage with each other at some point. Acted with each other at some point. So, echo what Marian's saying. We know each other so well, and know how each other works. So the collaboration is a big part for us, really. Yeah, and that's against the grain. That's the theatre company in itself. We're willing to collaborate. We are a collaboration. We'll work with anyone, and we enjoy that process.
We trust each other's judgment as well. We all have a similar sense of humour. So if somebody has an idea or some insight into a scene that could make it funnier, nobody's going to turn around and say, I'm not sure about that. We'll just absolutely go with it. And, hopefully most of the time we've got enough ability to actually put on stage what somebody else's idea is, hopefully. So yeah, that helps as well.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. Paul, putting you on the spot, picking on you now, turning the tables now, interviewing you.
I know this feels very strange, but carry on.
How's the experience going for you?
It's great. I mean, it's good to see the play developing, and it's in very good shape at the moment. We've only been rehearsing for a few weeks, but already we can see the framework of the play and how it's going to progress. And it's just, yeah, and as Mark and Mary and Stuart said, it's very much a collaborative process. We all have an input, whether it be a change in dialogue or whatever, we can all chip in, and it's a good process. A lot of directors will have very fixed ideas of how they want scenes to look or how the direction is aimed, the way people move on stage, but we're not like that. We've never done that, so I think it's a better process for it, and hopefully people will enjoy the end result more. It's interesting to see the play sort of developing and see it sort of organically growing, as it were.
Absolutely, and I'm always impressed by when I see actors like yourselves committing to memory so much information, so long, some little bits of monologue coming in, lots of script to learn. I don't know how you do it. Full of admiration.
We don't.
It's hard work. I hate learning lines personally. It's just a job of work. If on the occasions I direct, I often say to people, don't think of them as lines. It's I don't know why, but think of it as something your character has to say at that particular moment. That's what makes your character, that they can't say anything else at that particular moment. It sounds like it's a really sensible, wise, smart thing to say, but actually it has no practical bearing whatsoever. Everyone's sitting there learning.
No, it's the job of the actor. They have lines to learn, and there's no easy way to do it. No. It's a case of, I've said to students that I've taught in the past, that they're your lines. You just got to learn them. It's as simple as that. Yeah. We can't do it for you. No one can do it for you. And you have your own process of learning your lines. So whatever process you find easy or good to do it. But that's part of the job.
Yeah, it is. It's just a job of work, and that's exactly it.
In the same way that you would learn a piece of music, you wouldn't, the musical director wouldn't expect you to go off on your own improvising it. You have to learn it as it's written. So it's the same process.
The thing about the way we work is that it's enabled me to actually take a look at bits of the play and cut words, cut sentences here and there, just to make it better, hopefully. But that's been really good. Even tiny little words and phrases that are put in, maybe one or two words at a time, you can take them out and actually it just makes it better. And that's a great way of working, because if you're working with experienced and actors of a really good standard, which like Stuart and the company are, then they're delivering the lines the way you want to hear them in the first place, and that's why you can say that doesn't work in that particular sentence. Let's just lose it.
So it evolves. It constantly evolves in the lead up to the actual performances.
Yeah,
Incredible.
I mean, Mark's been great with this. He's not so precious about the script. Like he said, you can take those lines out, you can take the words out that aren't meaning or doesn't sit right or doesn't sound right or doesn't work in the scene, doesn't work for the character. And that's really, really a great thing. You know, you can meet many writers or many directors, as we said before, that have very specific ideas and can be quite precious about things, which is fine. You know, that's their idea. So it's really nice to work with Mark as a writer and director and actor, and as a friend as well, that you can take those pieces out, and he's not so precious about that.
I mean, if he tried to take a scene out, I might be more precious about it.
He's not burst into tears yet.
No. Still 4.5 weeks away.
Yeah, that comes later.
Yeah.
But it'll be nailed down within probably the next week or so. That the script won't change after that, because obviously we have to set about learning it properly. And in the next week or two, probably we will have learned everything, and it will develop a little bit more. And again, we'll have maybe 2 or 3 weeks off the books where we can come in and actually start playing with it a bit more, really.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me and inviting me to your rehearsals today. And before we finish, is there anything you guys would like to add?
The dates for the play, the 29th of November.
29th, 30th.
And the 1st of December. And just come along and see it. Hopefully, obviously you know more that you've been an audience today. Hopefully there's a lot for people to enjoy if they want to come along and see it, and they will come out with a smile on their face and having had a laugh as well.
Yeah, get back to the theatre. You know, we've all had a very, very difficult 18 months, almost going on for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Come and support your local theatre. Come and support everyone, but come and enjoy it. You know, we've been locked up. Literally, some of us have been, locked in the houses for so long. Just so it's time to come and enjoy yourself and forget what's gone on and have fun.
I'd also like to thank the Live Rooms actually for
Absolutely.
providing a venue for us as well. They've been really supportive so far. So big shout out to them as well. They're a great place to work with.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angela.
Leave
Thanks
you
for
to
coming
it.
along.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, so hope you enjoyed that little taster of what is to come if you are to go along and watch Mr. Dumpling, courtesy of the team at Against the Grain, at the Live Rooms in Chester. Now, can we just have a reminder of how you can go about getting tickets for that, Paul?
Yeah, sure. So best way to get tickets is to book online through the website for the Live Rooms, which is www.theliverooms.com. And there will be some tickets available on the door each night too. So tickets online are £10 and on the door they're 12. As we said, doors open at 7 o'clock and the performance starts each night at 7:30. So that's we hope to see you there.
Brilliant. Sounds like a real treat. Can't wait. Okay, so we're going to have a little chat now, as we do from time to time, about what's on, what's coming up in and around Chester. We're going to kind of whiz through. If you're listening and you're thinking, what can I go and watch? What's coming up? This will give you a bit of a taster, really. So if we can kick off, if we start our little magical mystery tour of good stuff to see and do with Chester Zoo. The lanterns, they return to the zoo this winter, and I can't believe this, they're in their 10th year now. And they begin on the 12th of November, running through, I think, to the 23rd of December. And it's a sort of magical nighttime, out of hours event. And apparently we are promised some new exhibits this year in the form of orangutans, butterflies, caterpillars and wolves. There'll be a light show. And it will be a bit of a journey that you'll be taken on to celebrate the zoo's 90th birthday, and going on a journey through time, exploring the zoo's history. And it's highlighting, or shining a light, shall we say, in keeping with the Lanterns event, on species which are threatened with extinction. And funds raised will support the zoo's crucial conservation work. And that will run, as I say, 12th of November to the 23rd of December at Chester Zoo, between 4 p.m. and 8:15 p.m. Prices for children start from, I think, £11, and for adults from £13. And there's more information on Chester Zoo's website, chesterzoo.org. Okay, now we wanted to also talk about, didn't we, Paul, Chester Male Voice Choir, and quite an unusual story that's come to light.
Yes, that's right. So Chester Male Voice Choir are celebrating this year their 80th anniversary. Slightly, some of the events they wanted to do slightly delayed because of the pandemic, but they're now back up and running again. And a few weeks ago, one of their members, Lance Howie, who's been a long-standing member of the choir, was talking to their chairman, John Walsh, about a tree that they planted in Grosvenor Park in Chester some 30 years ago to mark what was then the Cestrian Male Voice Choir's 50th anniversary. And John's been involved with the choir for some 10 years now, and actually didn't know that this tree existed in the park. So Lance very swiftly produced a photograph of the actual tree planting itself. And believe it or not, some of the members who were still in the choir were present at that event 30 years ago. So they thought it would be quite nice, because they realised that probably the plaque that was attached to the tree or planted close to the tree at the time of the original planting is long since gone. So they thought it would be nice to have a new plaque made to commemorate their 80th anniversary this year. And so having contacted local council to see what they could do, what they were allowed to do, they finally, a few weeks ago, had a little ceremony at the tree, which is now fully grown oak tree. So they, amazing. They were amazed to see how big it had grown, I think. So they had a little ceremony at the tree to attach the new plaque to it and rededicate the tree. And it was great that some of the members who were there, the regional planting, were able to come along and be present at this, the unveiling of this new plaque to celebrate the choir's 80th anniversary. That's absolutely, it's a lovely story, it really is.
Oh, that really is. That's lovely. And I must, next time I go to the Grosvenor Park, go and have a look, try and find it, because it's, from the photos I've seen, it looks absolutely magnificent. Beautiful tree. So that's lovely. Really lovely. Okay, so back to on stage now with a look at what's coming up in the foreseeable future and into 2022. We've got Theatre Clwyd bringing their fantastic rock and roll panto back on stage after it was screened online last year due to the pandemic. And it's Beauty and the Beast. It's written by the legend and talented actor and writer that is Christian Patterson, so it's sure to be a laugh a minute, and there's going to be the usual brilliant array of rock and roll belters to really get your toes tapping, and there'll be jokes for adults and children alike, the usual. It is guaranteed, I promise you, we've been there, guaranteed a magical festive night or afternoon to remember. And that is coming to Theatre Clwyd in Mold, a little theatre on the hill, as we call it, from Friday the 19th of November to Saturday the 15th of January. And tickets are priced from £15. And have a look on their website to find out more about that. Okay, coming back to Chester, we've got the festive production from Storyhouse in the city, which this year is Oliver Twist. Bit of a classic tale there, being brought to life on stage by the talented cast at Storyhouse. And that runs from the 4th of December to the 16th of January. And tickets, I had a little look on the website just before, they seem to range from about £18 up to about 34 or 38 pounds. So have a look on their website to find out more about that.
Also coming up in Chester next year, we're very excited that local youth theatre On the Mark will be staging Andrew Lloyd Webber musical Whistle Down the Wind. It's perhaps one that's not perhaps that well known, but of course the smash hit No Matter What, which was performed by Boyzone, comes from that show, and it's going to be interesting for the youth theatre because they're going to be getting to work with an adult cast as well. They're playing some of the older lead roles, so it's going to be a really interesting time for the members of the youth theatre to get the experience of working with an adult cast for that show. And I know from speaking to Simon Phillips, who's one of the founders of On the Mark Youth Theatre, that they're all really excited to be, again, like many companies like Against the Grain and Tip Top and Chester Little Theatre, really excited to be back in rehearsals and back on stage. A slow return to normal, hopefully. But yeah, really looking forward to seeing On the Mark produce Whistle Down the Wind next March.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds like another unmissable production. We've got so many talented people, haven't we, in around Chester? That's brilliant.
We have. We're really lucky, actually, and I say that as a theatre goer and someone who sort of helps produce theatre. It's we are so blessed with some of the companies that we have. Absolutely.
Okay, turning our attention now to again the talented folk at Chester Little Theatre in Chester. They have a number of productions coming up, including a comedy thriller by Fred Carmichael, Murder on the Rerun, and that is all about untoward happenings in and around a chalet in a ski resort where a group of friends have gathered, and someone, shock horror, is found dead at the bottom of the stairs. So high drama. And that is going to be staged in the Liz Stafford Auditorium. And that will run from the 4th of December to the 11th of December. And looking forward further still, we have a classic production being staged, A View from the Bridge, from the pen of Arthur Miller, directed by Jane Barth and set in 1950s Brooklyn, New York. Eddie Carbone works hard on the docks to support his wife Beatrice and her orphaned niece Catherine. Tension arises when Catherine announces that she has a job and is leaving school. Beatrice is pleased for her. Eddie's against her taking the job, becomes angry. Is his concern genuine, or is it based on jealousy? So again, that's another exciting one that is coming to Chester Little Theatre from the 26th of Feb to the 5th of March. Okay, so now, I had a bit of a senior moment there, didn't I, Paul? I was finding information out about Tip Top's excellent up-and-coming new production, and I Googled them under Tip Top and Cats, which, yes, they are bringing Cats the musical to the stage. What did I get in my Google results but Top Cat, which took me right back to my 1970s childhood. So So that gave us a giggle. So that was a little comedy moment for us there. And we were just saying, yeah, it's just as well that I'm not doing this live right now. We've got the wonders of pre-record for a podcast. So there we go. Yeah.
Absolutely. Maybe we should go out on the Top Cat theme tune.
Maybe indeed, because that is going to be my earworm now for the next day or so. Right. Okay, so sorry, Tip Top Productions, taking the the attention, the spotlight away from you there by Top Cat. So Tip Top, not Top Cat, are bringing Cats the Musical to the stage at Theatre Clwyd March next year, from the 16th to the 19th. So that is going to be phenomenal. Knowing, you know, as talented as Tip Top are, and they love musicals, they're so good at doing that. Music from Andy Lloyd Webber, based on the Old Possum's book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot. So that is going to be a joy to behold too. And I believe tickets are available from the Theatre Clwyd box office from November, with prices ranging from £12 up to £18. So yeah, have a look out for that on the Theatre Clwyd website. And apologies for Top Cat fans, Top Cat isn't in it, but there will be a lot of other excellent, entertaining cats. There we go. Right, so was there anything you wanted to mention, Paul, before we finish the podcast and let people get back to their business?
I just think it's great that we're actually now getting back to a little bit of normality, and that, you know, theatres and venues are starting to open again. And, you know, it's great that we're actually able to talk about upcoming events. You know, so long for everybody in the industry and everybody who loves theatre. So yeah, it's absolutely great that there's now so much going on in Chester and the surrounding area as well, you know, and it's fantastic. There's nothing better for me, as far as I'm concerned, as seeing a live theatre production. Yeah, absolutely wonderful.
It really is.
As long as we stay on the right side of being safe, that's the important thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's all about being careful, isn't it, and staying safe, because we are still in a pandemic. Well said, well said. But yeah, it's a good feeling, isn't it, to be getting out there again, watching theatre, taking part in theatre, bit of escapism, which we all need. So that's good. That's good. Yeah, and it's been brilliant to chat to you again, Paul. I've missed this. I've really missed it. It's been
lovely. It's been great to do it again. It's been too long, hasn't it? So it's been really lovely to do this one again, and hopefully the first of many more podcasts, Angela. Absolutely.
Definitely. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much to my co-host Paul Crofts, and to the wonderful team at Against the Grain in Chester for letting me come and watch them rehearse their latest production, Mr. Dumpling, coming to Chester's Live Rooms at the end of November. Find out more on the Chester Live Rooms website. Okay, thank you so much for listening in after our little breather. We hope you'll stick with us and keep tuned for lots more podcasts, as Paul mentioned. Yeah, it's the Good Enough Human. Feels flipping good to be back doing it again. And it's brought to you by the team at We Are Chester. And thanks so much to all of you for listening in, and my co-host, everyone involved, and also to Stephen Kenyon-Owen for the Ace music, which brings the podcast to life. So take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.